Last month, I lived on the tropical island of Tenerife, where I worked as a level designer for a company called No Breaks Games. This was a pretty good position, and I also had an absolutely amazing team, on top of which I was really starting to enjoy the island life. But for a very long time, I've been really wanting to work on my own projects and make my own games. So I moved back to the Netherlands, where I now live together with my girlfriend and our two cats, and I'm working for my own game studio, Roofkat. Since I'm now responsible for my own game, I want to make sure that I keep a good overview and I understand what's going on with the game pretty much at any time. So I want to have a bit of time to reflect on it every 2 weeks and take a look at what has been going on these past 2 weeks and kind of figure out if there's any problems and potentially how to solve them. So what I want to do during this bit of reflection, I want to ask myself 4 questions. First of all, how do I feel about the game as it is right now? Secondly, how do I feel about how we are making the game? So any kind of workflow, any kind of processes that we're using, is everything going well, or is there maybe something that we can improve? Thirdly, how did we actually progress these past 2 weeks? Did we do everything that we wanted to do? What did we actually get done? And finally, what are our goals for the next 2 weeks? So I could answer all of those questions right now, but it's probably good if I give you a bit of context for what I'm making first. So what I'm creating is mostly a strategy game where you and a giant sea turtle are trying to escape the doomed city of Atlantis. On the way, you can find a number of other Atlanteans who you encounter, and then you can recruit, and then you can direct them to fight against giant evil monsters in battle. And you have to make strategic decisions because these Atlanteans can die in battle, and you may be forced into tough decisions to sacrifice some of them. So you want to try and make the best decisions and escape Atlantis together with your turtles and as many surviving Atlanteans as possible. Answer to the first question, how am I feeling about the game? Pretty good. A couple of weeks ago, we tested it with a number of other game developers, and we figured out that there were some issues with the strategy, which is obviously a massive part of the game. And I made some changes to address it, and I'm pretty happy with how they are working out so far. I've tested it with one person. I'm going to have to test it with a number of other people to see if this is actually solving the problems that it had. But I'm hopeful, and that makes me pretty excited about, how the game is shaping up right now. So then, second question, how do I feel about how the progress on this project has been going for the past 2 weeks, how we've been working, workflow, anything like that? I've actually had a bit of a problem, and that is mostly to do with the way that I've set up my strict core working hours, by which I mean I have not set up any strict core working hours. I decided that, I'm really motivated for this project, so probably I will just work whenever I feel productive, whenever I feel like going for it. And some days that works. Some days I work a lot of hours and I'm doing really great. Some days I only log 2 or 3 hours and then I feel extremely dissatisfied about, just the amount of time that I've spent on it, even if I've made some progress. So that's one of the downsides of it. And the other downside is that it completely destroys any distinction between work time and free time. And that free time I also need for other activities, other things that I'm doing. So that makes it very hard to plan and it makes it quite stressful. And stressful is not good. So next 2 weeks I'm going to try with a more strict core hours approach. And then, really make sure that I do some work during those hours. And then outside of that, I can be a lot more free with whether I do a little bit of extra work or whether I work on my other things, do some free time, have some fun, play some games, all of that good stuff. So, question 3, what have we actually been doing in the last 2 weeks? I've not got a whole lot to show or report just yet because a lot of it is more theoretical, setting things up, doing a lot of world building, figuring out why why these Atlanteans are the way they are, what they dress, that sort of stuff. I have done some things within the game engine, and one of those things includes making a water shader. This was my first attempt at making something that resembles water. And so far this is just a day's work, so I'm pretty happy with how that has turned out. Then, fourth and final question, what's happening next? So, some of it will be more of the same. I've got to work more on that water shader, even though I think it looks nice. It's not done just yet. I've also still got to work some more on world building, what are the Atlanteans up to, and I'm going to work together with my girlfriend, who's an artist and also working on this project. Got to work with her on figuring out what the characters look like, a bit of style development, figuring out what the actual game graphics will be visualized as. And I'm also working with an audio, a sound designer, who hopefully will have some awesome stuff to listen to. I'm not sure if that will be something really to listen to in 2 weeks, but I'm really excited to see what we come up with for that. So that's roughly my plan for the next 2 weeks. There's obviously a lot of other stuff I want to play test, iterate on some of the things that I've got, but in general, those are the bigger things that are coming up in the next 2 weeks, and I'm excited to see where they're headed. So I mostly make these videos as a bit of a reflection phase for myself, but I also really appreciate that you're watching this, so thank you. I would really like to build a bit of a community, try and get some people like yourself, hopefully, that I can share the new stuff that I'm making with, and then maybe get some feedback. Especially going to be interesting when I have some builds to share, some actual playable content. That will be really fun. If you're interested in that, then I have a Discord. Please join that. And it's a little bit quiet in there now, but I'm sure I'll shake things up when I have a little bit more to share. So yeah, thanks again. Thanks for checking this out, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. And that's going to be exciting.